Uninvited Guest. Part 1. The brochure stated, a holiday in Spain at a luxury villa for two. But there had been no mention of the visitor who wished to share the couple's food and accommodation. And he certainly wasn't there for sun and relaxation. It was September 1980 when Daniel and Isabel arrived at the villa in their open-top MG sports car. By now, it was late evening, completely dark. The car's headlights brushed across the white stone walls of their idyllic house in the country as they swung into the driveway area. They had travelled a long way, and their blood-red AMG had gathered a considerable load of dust on the journey, and so had their suitcases. Their luggage was strapped to the boot rack at the back of the car. They were clearly well-to-do, an attractive couple in their mid-40s. They eased themselves out of the small car, the legs stiffened by the journey, and brushed himself down. Daniel was easily 6'2", with a strong, athletic build and a shock of dark brown hair, which he slicked back. He wore a dark velvet sports jacket, a check shirt with stylish cravat, and his thick trouser belt tightly wrapped around his beige chinos, which perfectly complemented his polished leather shoes. Isabel looked elegant in her dark blue skirt and sapphire blue open-neck blouse. Her shortish red hair was perfectly trimmed, and her eyes were gleaming in the darkness. Daniel banged the bonnet of the MG with his strong hands. "Well done," he loudly declared, congratulating the car for getting them both there safely. "I hope there's an iron," Isabel queries coquettishly, in her middle-class voice of refinement. "A bath and a good night's rest," Daniel bellows across the courtyard, with his deep, unconfident voice resonating off the villa walls. Outside the house they both stand next to their car while the crickets chirp away in the distance in the still night air. "Lovely," says Isabel, head back, sensing the coolness. "Jasmine," Daniel declares enthusiastically. "We're in Katana," Isabel corrects. "It's tobacco plants." "Let me introduce you to the grapevine," at last Daniel announces, with a sweeping gesture. Isabel plucks the grape straight off the nearby hanging vine and takes a bite. Her lips curl down and she involuntarily screws up her attractive face at the sour taste. She stares at the bitten grape in her hand. "I told you that I was flustered when that policeman blew his whistle at me," she says. "That costs us another 30 miles at 90 pence a gallon," Daniel accuses her with good nature. "Here's the keys." Isabel dangles them in front of him. "Come on, let's get inside." Daniel unlocks the villa front door, and they both walk inside. Isabel carries a lightweight straw holdall with her. Moving through the front door, they switch the inside lights on. They're both now standing in a large tiled-floored kitchen with rustic tables and a no-style kitchen press and surfaces. "The kitchen," Daniel declares, hands on hips, while he struts around, casually taking in their rented accommodation. Converted farmhouse, circa 1920. Ernest Hemingway is supposed to have worked at that window. He drones on in his strident voice, slightly questioning, as if he's quoting from the brochure as he scans around. Meanwhile, Isabel is transferring the contents of her straw bag onto a big wooden table and looking over her shoulder back at him approvingly. She appears to be enjoying her man's presentational patter, all part of the experience, the adventure. She giggles a bit, and he joins in with a self-satisfied look on his strong-jawed face. His controlled smile makes him look handsome. Her wide grin lights up her face, and she looks quite glamorous with her white and even teeth. And then her smile momentarily disappears and is replaced by a mock frown. With a sniff, she says, "A bit damp, isn't it?" She has a screwed-up, disapproving face. With a sniff, she says, "A bit damp, isn't it?" "All romantic," he replies, while caressing her shoulders as he stands behind her. Daniel must be about 6 inches taller than her anyway. He gets rewarded with a wide-eyed smile, a smile of class and refinement. While Isabel is still unpacking her bag, they both notice a notepad on the table. Daniel picks it up and reads out loud the handwritten message. "Welcome. We hope you enjoy your stay." Daniel looks around and says, "I should hope so. The money we're paying." The note continues. "Mercedes, a local girl, comes in every morning at 10. Or approximately 10. "What constitutes local?" Isabel asks in her posh voice, slightly laughing. Daniel, still with his cravat and jacket on, raises his arms above his head and fully stretches. "Whacked?" Isabel asks. Yeah, tired. Drive all night, they say, but not me," Daniel slurs. "Well, we're here safe and sound, that's what matters." Isabel gazes at him. 3 miles to the local village. I'll believe Mercedes when we see her." "Mercedes? Spanish name?" Daniel asks. "Who knows?" Isabel replies, as she opens the door of the fridge to put some food in from a straw bag. Outside the villa, coming out of the darkness, a portly and short man appears in the lit forecourt. He walks quickly and directly up to the Louvre wooden shutters at the side of the building and tampers with the latch. Inside, the now relaxed couple are wandering around arm in arm, exploring the other rooms of the property, entirely unaware of the mysterious man outside who's creeping around. They both stroll about inside of the villa, and they seem impressed by the big central fireplace in the living room area, although Isabel points out a missing light bulb and the dusty surfaces. "Call reception," Daniel says, only half jokingly. She titters. Daniel then picks up an ashtray to closely examine the cigarette stubs it contains. He doesn't look amused. Isabel notices the wooden window shutters and comments that they should keep out the mosquitoes. And now they're in the bedroom with its cosy and authentic old-style solid furniture. Daniel releases his full weight and flops backwards onto the bed, making it creak under the strain. His head is just about touching the wrought iron headboard, while his still-shoed feet are falling off the bottom. He stretches his arms out wide, revealing a thick and ornate gold bracelet on his left wrist. Isabel nears the side of the bed and, open-bloused, leans over Daniel, showing off her hourglass figure. And then she sits on the edge of the bed. She kisses him lightly on the forehead. He strokes her cheek gently. Daniel suddenly leaps up from the bed and quickly moves to the window and grabs the flimsy shutters and rattles them, nearly taking their hinges off. Standing by the shuttered window, which is now swung open, Daniel says with a smile, "Listen, you won't hear that in West Bridgeford." "Echoes of 1,000 seashells?" Isabel politely responds, in her polished accent, as she sits on the bed. "Oh, don't make me laugh," his grin widening, as he stands next to the window. There is silence in the outside darkness, with just the wind whispering in the trees in a slight breeze. After his very short rest on the bed, Daniel seems to have found a new lease of energy. "Hey, should I unpack the car?" he asks, but it isn't really a choice he's given her. He speaks more in a manner that he's informing her of his next action. "Yes, go on. I'll make up the bed," Isabel replies somewhat wistfully, looking away from him, lost in her thoughts. Then she looks at him directly. 14 whole days? Maybe more?" Standing at the open bedroom door, Daniel points at her commandingly, with a knowing look in his eyes. "Maybe." He has a "we'll see how we get on" expression. She looks thoughtful again, head down a bit, making no eye contact with him. Outside the villa, a heavy-set man with closely cropped light grey hair, wearing a scruffy sky-blue t-shirt, is fiddling with the car keys that have been left in the ignition of the MG. Daniel is now walking out of the front door into the forecourt, flicking back his smooth dark brown hair. The grey-haired mystery man ducks down sharply when he spots Daniel exiting the doorway. Daniel pauses just outside the open door and grabs a grape off of a close-by vine. He bites it. His face immediately turns sour to match the taste he is experiencing. Not to worry, he shrugs. Daniel quietly hums to himself in a relaxed way as he makes the few short steps towards the car. He stretches his long arms down into the open-top vehicle and begins to gather up some things from the back seat to bring inside. Meanwhile, stocky, grey-haired man is hiding behind a nearby bush, unseen, and is closely monitoring Daniel's every move. In the bedroom, Isabel is singing a tune to herself pleasantly, while dutifully making up the bed. On the wall behind her, next to the window, is a gold-framed picture of the distorted face of a rather serious-looking man in a brown border mount, Van Gogh style, positioned just above a dark oak bedside cabinet and mirror. Both are lit softly by a floral-patterned white table lamp with a plain, frilled white cotton shade.